Has it felt strange having a week without a game, given the schedule that you face?
I suppose looking back on the back end of last season and at times this season, having the period that we have with no game, is a little bit strange. At the same time, we were prepared, ready for both games, and it was only on the day of that they were actually postponed. So you've done all the preparation, you're ready. It's a bit of an anti-climax really when they're postponed, but yeah, we've been able to get some good work in on the training ground as well. So we've used the time effectively and efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen it as an opportunity to rest as well, or is that kind of the last thing on your mind around Christmas time because the games are just thick and fast?
There's been a good blend between the intense work and also being aware of the lads needing a little bit of time for their bodies to recover as well. But we're going to go into a period now that we know is busy, so we go into that. We look forward to that. It's always a time where you can get plenty of points on the board, or you can progress in cup competitions. So it's a period we're looking forward to.
And you've been involved in plenty of winter campaigns. What excites you most around this time of the year?
It's pretty much the same that excites me the rest of the time. The games, especially when they come thick and fast. You're playing, you're recovering, you're preparing, and then you're at it again. As I just mentioned, there's an opportunity to progress in cup competitions, an opportunity to get points on the board. So, as I say, we've prepared for that. We're looking forward to that, and it's something we want to do over the coming weeks.
Just from a player's perspective, give us an idea, just how crucial is it in the mindset of players in terms of December to February and how decisive that can be in team seasons?
I'm not sure that if you've asked every individual, they would perhaps give it a lot of thought. Having been involved in various campaigns, good, bad, indifferent, it's a really, really important part of the season, because if you are in a position, an ideally placed position, you've not got a lot of catching up to do. Is what I mean by that. So you're giving yourselves an opportunity through that period of time with the games coming thick and fast to then enter the last perhaps 10 games, quarter of a season, ideally placed. And again, that will give you an opportunity to put pressure on teams above you and hopefully chip away and move up the league and get to where you ultimately want to be.
And of course, the FA Cup this weekend against Leyton Orient. But before that, I want you to cast your mind back to your 27th birthday, 3rd of January 2009. You know where I'm going with this. That equaliser against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Just where does that rank in your career highlights?
You know what? It's not too bad. We were 1-0 down, not long to play. I'd actually hit the bar a couple of minutes prior to that. And you do wonder if that's going to be the final opportunity. The kit man at the time actually said to me there was a little break in play, a couple of lads got a drink. He said, "You get another chance." Long throw came in, it flicked off defender's head, right in my path, and ultimately I was able to get my best foot on it and took it away.
Amazing. I mean, that Chelsea team as well, it contained Ashley Cole, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, to name just three. I think Joe Cole was in there as well. Does that show why the FA Cup is the best domestic cup competition in the world for you?
100%. From a personal point of view, as a kid growing up, FA Cup final day, the build-up was on from about 11:30 or something like that in the morning. So you'd be out playing footy in the yard or on the pitches. You'd be out playing football, dreaming. The game that was played that morning, it was always the FA Cup final. So to me, it's the best cup competition in the world without a shadow of a doubt. It picks the elite right at the top of the tree. You're talking now your Liverpool, City, Chelsea, against teams even further down the pyramid than ourselves. And I've played in the FA Cup competition, to have had some really fond memories. It's fantastic, you know, coming back at Vicarage Road, beating them in the replay at Prenton Park. Fantastic times. You know, so from a playing perspective, we'd love to recreate some more of those times, create new memories, new history. And Saturday's an opportunity for us to maybe get a little bit closer to that.
I was going to ask you about that Watford game, actually. It was one of the first games that you played in after you joined the club. Have you spoken to any of the new lads that have come in this year? Have you spoken to any of them about that game and the importance of the FA Cup as a whole to Tranmere, especially when you look at the early 2000s, for example, as well?
Yeah, of course. You know, the boys that have been here over a period of time, the ones that have experienced, as we say, the draw and then the replay victory, we're well aware of how it can impact. So yeah, the lads that are a little bit newer, a little bit younger, we use it as a point of reference, but we don't want to, you know, keep bashing them around the head with it. You know, they want to, I suppose, be able to enjoy the FA Cup occasions and create their own positive memories from the competition.
Absolutely, and of course, you need to get to the third round before you can start thinking of a Premier League team or a Championship team. Just how much of a test are you expecting against Leyton Orient this weekend?
Of course, like you say, you've got to make the third round, so no one can get ahead of themselves. There were one or two results that probably weren't expected in the previous round, so we're expecting a tough game. I think any team or any player that's come up against the Kenny Jackett team is well aware of the threats they pose, the organisation that he instills into his teams and his units. So we're well aware it's going to be a tough game, one we're looking forward to, and one we've used the time effectively over the last few days to prepare for.
That's great, Clarke. Thank you very much, mate.
Pleasure, no problem.
Peter, how you doing?
Afternoon.
I think you've played over 800 games in your career, but my sources tell me that you're not a bad cricket player either. Can you? Is that true? I think you might have turned out for Southport and Birkdale in your time. I don't know how accurate that information is.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Saturday's 850, so getting along there with the appearances. Yeah, going back when I was a little bit younger, I played a little bit of cricket. I suppose it was something that kept me busy in the summer when there wasn't a lot of football happening. Yeah, interesting. Where do you get your info from?
As a journalist, I couldn't possibly reveal my source. Yeah. I suppose the next question is: are you more of a batsman or a bowler?
You know what? I did a bit of everything. Bowled a bit, batted a bit, kept wicket a bit. Probably none of it very well, but I did a bit of everything, like I say.
Do you find any of those skills when you're playing cricket? Is there much transferable over from football? Just the way you approach any sort of competitive activity?
A good question, that. From a cricket football perspective, maybe a little bit. The hand-eye coordination or hand-foot coordination. I think there's probably more similarities, certainly in the way I play or as defenders play. There's probably more similarities between football and basketball, between football and boxing, in terms of your footwork and your body weight and where to hold it and how to move. So maybe not so much in cricket, but like I say, basketball and boxing probably more so.
Brilliant. No more cricket questions, I promise you. You've had a different defensive partner. You've had Nat Knight Percival after you've played quite a few games with Tom Davies. For you personally, when you're playing with different personnel at the back, is it much of an adjustment, or do you just play exactly the same game every time you play?
Not a massive amount. You know, sometimes I might play as a left side centre half or a right side centre half, but to my way of thinking, and I remember watching a game far further up the scale than I'm playing at. I remember an England game. There was one player who moved from one side of the defence to the other, and his performance was heavily criticised, which I felt was a bit unjust. But from my point of view, no, it doesn't change massively. I think as defenders, as footballers, you grow up with the basics, the knowledge of what to do, when to do, where to do it, and maybe things slightly change, but I would say only ever so slightly. So no, from my point of view, no massive changes, no big change to the way I perform, or certainly any sort of preparation or anything of that sort.
This Tranmere team, of course, is still evolving. I think it was about 18 new faces through the door in the summer. I know towards the end of last season, perhaps not everything was always as harmonious as people might have liked it to be. But how is this group, bear in mind that it's still on a learning curve as a team, how are they adapting to challenges, or when things aren't going right, or when there's criticism to be thrown around?
Like you say, this group is still, I suppose, in terms of things, in its infancy. There was a big turnover of players in the summer, like you say, 17, 18 new arrivals. So it does take time for things to bed in, and for individuals to learn about different teammates, games, so on and so forth. But, I think the nature of the job is that there will be criticism. I think as a group, if anyone is in for any sort of criticism, then the lads rally round. I think there's a really good collective team ethic, team spirit, and we're all working for the greater good of Tranmere Rovers.
Last week, Mickey was talking to us about Paul Glatzel and how he's developed his game to move up from under 23s level to League Two, which is a lot less forgiving for forward players. I'm sure you've dished out a bit of a bit in your 849 games, Peter. But Mickey was saying that development in his training, we get him to work to check his shoulder and stuff like that. Give him a bit of tough love, really. Let him take a few kicks and whatnot. And from your perspective, how does that work in training? Because I know you obviously no one ever wants an opponent, a teammate to get injured in that, but at the same time, they need to know what they're going to face on a Saturday afternoon, don't they?
Yeah, of course. I think the difference between this underage football, 21s, 23s, and first team football, they're two completely different environments. I think going back to when, I was that age, my time of life then, you were in an environment where the toughest survived, and you were given two options, sink or swim, really. And from my point of view, no problem. I enjoyed that. I was around tough people, and I think it gives you coping mechanisms. It gives you not just ways to cope in football, but certainly life skills. I think now the way the game's played in under 21s, under 23s is certainly a different way to sometimes football's played in first teams, in Leagues 1, Leagues 2, even the Championship. So it's taken a little while for Pal, but he's a fantastic young man, a great work ethic, someone who really wants to learn and who wants to get better. And those things give him a real opportunity to get better as a defender. Yes, you're physical, you maybe, like you say, you do dish out a bit of tough love now and again. At the same time, though, try and have a quiet word with him about maybe little bits and pieces that he can integrate into his game. And as you say, as I said before, and I think he's a fantastic young man who really wants to learn and wants to get better. And if that's his starting point, then he's got a fantastic chance of doing that.